Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are LA.
That is driven out to left center. Forget about this one. Drive home safely. What another walk-off. Absolutely insane. Mike Trout. How does he do it? He thrills you at the All-Star game, and the first game back, he thrills us here at the Big A with a walk-off home run.
Well, nothing can dampen a walk-off like that for Mike Trout, except perhaps a little bit of rain. We had some today. BP was canceled, but game time is on time as we get ready for Game 2 of this 4-game set against the visiting Boston Red Sox. The Angels, with a victory last night, maintain a half-game lead over the Houston Astros, who also won last night. And we welcome you inside the Big A and back to Angels baseball here on Fox Sports West. He's Mark Gubiza. I'm Victor Rojas. And for the first time this year, we're going to talk about Mike Trout in the open, and he is a special player. Last night, he proved it once again. Talk about an encore to that All-Star performance.
Yeah, it's something different, Vic. Let's talk about Mike Trout. Take a look at our tools of the trade brought to you by Ram Trucks. How special that was for Mike Trout to be able to connect on a harder pitch on the outside part, but even off the outside corner. The target was set. That pitch is down, but look at the extension he gets out. Baseball's out in front of the plate, so he's creating the leverage and the power behind that swing. Hit speed over 100 miles an hour, and the distance, the trajectory of that baseball, 396-foot shot, all kinds of carry. Special moments always for Mike Trout. He did it once again. He thrilled us last night. I'm sure he'll do that again tonight.
Yeah, last night C.J. Wilson had a spectacular performance. See if Garrett Richards can follow that up as the Angels will face Rick Porcello. We're just about ready for baseball here at the Big A. Sit back and relax. Lineups and first pitch when we return. Angels baseball is brought to you by CarMax. Start the search for your next car at CarMax. CarMax, start here. By Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today only at Jack in the Box. By the new movie Southpaw starring Jake Gyllenhaal in theaters everywhere Friday. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Red Sox getting ready for game 2 of this 4-game set. And see if we not only avoid the rain, see if the Angels can continue to keep it rolling a little bit.
Well, all the momentum's always started with your starting pitcher, and Garrett Richards certainly the right guy to have on the mound tonight for the Angels with his dominating fastball, slider, curve, and occasional changeup combination.
Check out John Farrell's starting lineup for the Boston Red Sox at 42 and 48 on the season. 7 back at the start of the day in the American League East. Mookie Betts in center field. Dustin Pedroia at second. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. David Ortiz at DH. Hanley Ramirez at left. Pablo Sandoval at third. Alejandro De Aza gets a start in right field tonight. Brock Holt, the All-Star, the lone All-Star for the Red Sox, starting at first base. And Ryan Hannigan back behind the plate as they take on Garrett Richards, making his 17th start of the season. Comes into this one with a 9-6 record and a 3.53 ERA.
Yeah, we talked about his dominating fastball. You mentioned 96, getting close to that 100 innings pitch mark. 77 strikeouts for Richards. My go-tos, his strike percentage of his pitch, especially his fastball. You want to make sure his strike zone, keep it down when you think about mid to low in the strike zone. So important for Richards. Even though he throws in the upper 90s, his fastball and slider aren't as effective when it's upstairs. So work downstairs in that strike zone with those 2 pitches, and he should be successful against his very good lineup for Boston.
Check out the Angels defensively behind Garrett. Matt Joyce gets the start in left field. Mike Trout at center. Cole Calhoun in right. The infield has David Freese and Eric Ibar on the left. Johnny Giavatello and Albert Pujols on the right. Carlos Perez tonight behind the dish.
And most times when you see Richards on the mound, you're going to see Carlos Perez doing the catching. It's his 10th start. They've worked together. The battery made 3.65 ERA. And I've talked to Garrett about how well he has thrown to Carlos Perez. He just said he's put the fingers down, trust him. He calls a very good game, frames pitches exceptionally well, and also does a good job as far as blocking that hard slider in the dirt.
And you need that with Garrett Richards and all the movement that he has on his pitches. Saw that earlier this year when he first came back. The guys aren't back there that understand and expect those types of movement. It could be a long, long night or afternoon.
Yeah, it's very difficult to try to frame that fastball at 97 with that type of action, whether it's sinking or cutting through the strike zone.
Folks still filing in here. And, as we mentioned, batting practice canceled. It rained all the way up until about 5:15 or thereabouts. They pulled the tarp about 5:25. Got the field ready. They feel like they could get this game in. Potentially a little bit more rain expected later tonight. Hopefully it just blows through.
This is July, right?
Yes, it is.
Nice rain today, though.
Yeah. First one tonight from Garrett is in there for a strike. Hunter Wendelstein calling the balls and strikes tonight. David Rackley at first, Marvin Hudson at second, and Falk and Bob Davidson over at third. Mookie Betts at .274 batting average. Went 0 for 4 last night with 4 fly ball outs. That was found.
I just look at that late action on that cut fastball at 97. This pitch basically started towards the middle of the plate, then ends up on the outside corner, just slightly off the corner for Richards. Good sign. 96, 97, first 2 pitches.
Oh, 2. That's a swing and a miss. Called strike 3 now by Hunter Wendelstein. I think he realized it was going to be a swing either way. 1 down.
That's a perfect setup. And the target set by Carlos Perez was fantastic. He's setting up off the outside corner, framing that pitch, and that's exactly where Garrett threw it. As a hitter, you have to protect against that fastball, and there's no question the swing all the way through the zone there to get a first punch out on 3 pitches for Garrett.
And it's usually a pretty good indicator when the batter takes a step across home plate, heading back to the dugout, that he himself is out. Joy looks at a strike.
I don't blame him after 97-mile-an-hour fastball that moved like that. I'd be working my way back to the bench myself.
You're tapping out at that point? I'm good.
I'm hoping somewhere down the road, maybe I'll get a slider or something. Something different.
Joy first game back from the DL last night. Fouls this one off. It's in the hole at 0-2. Dustin 0 for 4 last night. And by the way, in case you were wondering about the rain, potential rain out today, it's been just over 20 years. June of 95 is the last rain out here at the Big A. Tarp still works.
Yes, it does.
Rolls on, rolls off.
I see a little patch of blue here and there, though, up in the sky. It's good to see.
0-2. Out back. Pedroia hitting .302 with 9 home runs, 33 driven home. Spent time on the disabled list with a deep hamstring injury that he suffered on June 25th.
And always be careful with a high fastball against Pedroia. He is very quick on a high fastball. It's a time maybe you try that nasty slider down and away.
Up and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Garrett feeling pretty good. Got good life on that fastball. His last start was at Seattle on the 9th. Gave up 4 runs on 12 hits and 5 1/3. Took the loss. Last start at home was on June 27th against Seattle. That's a call, strike 3. Down goes Pedroia. There's that breaking ball you were talking about. 2 outs.
Oh, that was nasty. Right on the outside part of the plate. An 88-mile-an-hour slider. Especially when you haven't seen it. It's been all fastballs, 96, 97 so far. Then you snap a slider. Outside part of the plate at the knees. Perfect rotation of the baseball. Stays on top. That front shoulder's tucked in. Check out that rotation of that slider. And a nice frame job by Carlos Perez.
So the bases clear. Xander Bogaerts almost gets hit by that pitch. He doubled with 2 outs in the first inning yesterday. 1 of 2 hits for Bogaerts. Now an 11-game hitting streak for him.
That smile on his face, I think I could start to breathe right now because he was looking away for a fastball. Got a fastball up and in instead.
Got the top part of the zone there. A backup breaking ball.
Like the last couple of pitches really in this whole sequence against Bogaerts a little quick for Garrett going through his mechanics. Trying to slow down. He took that slow walk back to the pitching rubber.
2-1 fouled off. Evens the countdown. A couple of strikeouts to start the game against Betts and Pedroia.
That's just looking out on the mound trying to figure out what that pitch was at 97 that he couldn't hold up on a swing.
Lifted in the air to right. Cole already playing deeper in right field. Is there a 1-2-3 inning for Garrett Richards. One to the bottom of the first. Giavotella, Calhoun, and Trout coming up for the Angels. Star break. We'll check out Mike Scioscia's starting lineup for the Halos, a half game up on the Stros with a 49-40 record. Giavotella, Calhoun, and Trout, the top third of the order for Scioscia. Pujols, Ibar, and Freese in the middle third. Cron, the DH. Joyce in left. Perez doing the catching. That's the bottom third of the orders. They take on the 26-year-old right-hander, native of Morristown, New Jersey. His name is Rick Porcello.
Porcello, fastballs, 89 to 94 range. He has a slider, curve, changeup. My keys to be successful against Porcello is elevate that sinker. When he brings that sinker up in the strike zone, it becomes very hittable. and score early. The Angels had a lot of success, especially here at the Big A, scoring early against Porcello, not let them settle in.
Making his 18th start of the season, 5-9 and a 5.90 ERA. Acquired in an offseason deal from Detroit. First one tonight in there for a strike. Giavotella, 267 average now with 3 home runs. 33 RBIs. Went 0 for 4 last night. The Angels managed just 2 hits. Double by Calhoun in the 7th, the first hit of the game. And then, of course, the walk-off home run by Trout. Check swing, he went around 0-2.
The last 6 starts for Porcello, 27 earned runs and a little over 30 innings pitched, 30 2/3 innings pitched. For Porcello, giving up a lot of home runs, 16 home runs allowed. His career high as far as home runs allowed, 23 the entire season back in 09.
That's a called strike 3. Giavotella sees 3 pitches. He's down for the first out. Red Sox defensively have Ramirez, Betts, and Diaz in the outfield from left to right. The infield with Sandoval, Bogarts, Pedroia at home from third to first. Hannigan, behind the plate.
Pedroia at second base, one of the best fielding second basemen. The heart and soul of this defense for the Red Sox. 4-time Gold Glove winner for the Red Sox. Has also turned 40 double plays, 5 errors so far this year for Pedroia. Very, very athletic, turns it very quick double play.
Cole will take outside. One hit last night, the double in the 7th against Wade Miley. It was perfect until the one-out walk to Chris Inet in the 6th. And the leadoff double to Calhoun off the center field fence. That was called. Double for Cole, his 16th of the year. It's the second time the Angels have faced Porcello. Pitched against the Halos at Fenway Park in late May. Did not fare well. Lasted just 4 1/3. Gave up 7 runs on 7 hits. Struck out 4 and walked 3.
Hannigan and Porcello, a little bit of a difficult time as far as what pitch to go with.
Two balls, 1 strike.
These two have worked pretty good together so far, with Porcello on the mound and Hannigan catching him. ERA 3.60 so far. These two working together.
Off speed, missing low. 3 ball, 1 strike count. Trout on deck. Hannigan seeing some time behind the plate. Blake Swihart on the disabled list since July the 3rd. The rehab assignment now. 3-1. Now back to hack by Cole. Better yet was the swing he had last night against Miley. Lefty pitcher who was dealing. But, didn't try to pull that fastball and drove it right into center field.
Yeah, Miley threw the ball very well, but you're right. Great dead center field. And that swing from Cole looked like he was trying to drive the ball to left center field, that high fastball away.
There's ball 4. Trying to sneak that front door sinker. Goes as a walk, and Trout will step to the plate with a man on.
27.
Trout with some good numbers against Porcello in his career. 6 for 18. That's a .333 batting average with a home run. That home run being a grand slam.
.311 on the year with 27 home runs and 56 runs batted in. We were looking to strike. It's kind of what he did against Suihara last night. Took a first pitch strike. Got that second one. Drove it out to left center.
Not a bad pitch either.
No. Except
against
anybody else.
Yeah. Especially anything close to being around that knee level against Trout is going to be hit hard.
Against mortals, it's an out. That's through that one. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Interesting thing you see Porcello with the grip on the baseball. He starts with the grip for his changeup. So then he can bring the fingers close to go fastball so he doesn't give that away if he goes off speed. His changeup, pretty solid pitch.
Just missed low.
Hannigan wanted that fastball upstairs. It's very hard for a sinker ball pitcher to elevate a fastball, though. Even though you want to, that's when that sinker just works down and becomes a very hittable pitch.
Been a cold zone for Trout, that fastball that's been up, especially over the heart of the plate. Foul tips out into the mid. That's kind of what we're talking about right there. This cold zone.
Yeah, he's still trying to lay off that pitch. Let's take a look at our AT&T Uverse rewind for Albert Pujols, who's coming to play. Last time he faced Porcello in Boston on May 22nd. Big fly over the Green Monster. Ball was crushed by Albert. With the barrel of the bat out, that pitch it didn't get quite down in the strike zone against Pujols. And it seems like Pujols is due for one of these games to get back on track as far as getting that batting average back up and start driving the ball once again.
.253 average for Albert. Mentioned he had the slow road trip. As far as batting average is concerned, hit just .200 on that trip. Even though a couple of home runs, 7 runs batted in. Got a man at first. Cole working the 1-out walk. 2 outs here in the first with no score. Trout with a home run last night, taking the team lead and American League lead in home runs, 27. Albert down with J.D. Martinez of the Tigers now for second. Porcello really taking a lot of time. It's not usually one of those guys that slows things down.
He's a guy that will give up some stolen bases. He's allowed 13 stolen bases in 17 attempts. He's got 1 pickoff, and not real fast to the plate. Hannigan has thrown out 25% of would-be base stealers. A Hyundai key for this game today for the Halos. Going a little AC/DC, a little thunderstruck. See if that offense can continue to roll, especially against Porcello, especially early in the game. And with the weather today, too. Figured I'd add it all together.
Breaking ball, that's a strike. Real slow breaking ball, 74. Two balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Breaking ball. Rain starting to fall here ever so lightly. We knew this was going to be a possibility tonight. Folks putting on their jackets.
You came prepared.
Yeah. Cole's going to take off. He does. A 3-2 ground ball to short. Jammed up. Bogarts takes his time. Pujols retired. And the first is in the books. We'll head to the second. Scoreless.
last night. It's the second time in Angel history since they walked off on a 1-0 game. Joe Rudi did it back in 1978. So Joe Rudi and Mike Trout are the only two to walk off with a 1-0 home run.
It's raining out here, and Mike having to deal with that rain.
See that baseball splash? Like they're playing the British Open out here today.
Yeah, minus the 75-mile-an-hour winds.
That might help my game out.
David Ortiz makes it a strike. You think so?
No question.
I look at it this way. It couldn't hurt my game. Ortiz, the DH. A couple of hits last night, 2 singles, ended up going 2 for 4. Garrett with a 1, 2, 3 first inning, including a couple of punch outs. The ball missing down. Shift is on, of course, with Ortiz at the plate. Two singles that Ortiz had last night. Toward the end of the bat, towards center. Fastball up. 3-1. Hanley Ramirez on deck. Ortiz gets jammed. Launch went out to center. One down.
See that throw out that Mike Trout was to prepare him for that first out of the inning. That's what it was.
Yeah, we're just playing catch too, where that ball splashed. Kind of where the edge of the tarp ends up being, so you get all that water runoff, and they cleared the field, rolled the tarp up. It's a nice little steady drizzle here. The Angels and the Red Sox both know that it's going to do this pretty much all night, so why not get it started? See if we get the requisite 5 in. Probably misses upstairs. Hanley, the team leader in home runs with 19, has 46 RBIs. 0 for 4 last night, including a double play ball. T.J. Wilson did a terrific job last night. 8 innings, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. Toe to toe with Wade Miley. A little liner to short, 2 outs. Hey, fans, the Angels host the Minnesota Twins on Tuesday at 7:05, and fans in attendance will receive a Angels Hawaiian hat courtesy of Chevron Extra Mile while supplies last. Purchase your tickets today at the Angels Stadium ticket office or online at angels.com.
Good looking hat. Wore that last night, somebody did. Forgot who it was.
Sweet Lou Piniella.
Oh, yeah. One-time Rookie of the Year.
Great middle name, by the way. Panda takes a strike. .263 average.
What would that be, by the way?
It starts with a V and ends with a Tor. Yeah, come back into the mound, which should have been the 3rd out of the inning, and Richards basically kind of just gets out of the way of it. Hits him, and nothing he can do. Sandoval with an infield base hit.
Again, that's one of the parts of the game for Garrett he's got to keep trying to work at. For this is one of those routine ground balls. Again, anytime you go to the backhand with the glove, it's a little more difficult, but that's a play he's in position to field. First of all, you want to keep that hand out of the way, put that behind your back. You had time. But because he falls towards first base, it's always difficult for him to get in the good fielding position. But that's a play that when you talk to Garrett tomorrow, he's going to say, I got to make that play. And you hope there's no carry on from that play right there, because you know you have to make that play as a pitcher. Sometimes you get frustrated and your very next pitch you throw to a new batter is not where you want to locate it because you're frustrated. You should have been through the inning. And because of that play, it ends up being a hit.
Alejandro De Aza, the starting right fielder tonight at the plate. Couldn't miss by much. It's ball one. De Aza, 266 average this year. 6 home runs and 26 runs batted. They played his 32nd game. It's being acquired from the Orioles. Pulled foul. He's hit well with Boston. 323 average in the 31 games he's played with the Red Sox. Picked up in early June. Sandoval with a small lead over at first base. Not going to go anywhere. 2 balls and a strike.
He has pretty good career numbers against the Angels. 296, 3 home runs. Also a 325 hitter here at the Big A.
Three-one count as that breaking ball misses. There's a walk, so the infield base hit followed by the first walk issued by Richards. Puts 2 men on here with 2 outs in the second.
And a little bit of a carryover from not making a routine play back up the middle. 4 out of 5 pitches out of the strike zone for Garrett against De Aza. And all of a sudden you got Sandoval in scoring position now. Plus yourself at least an extra 6-7 pitches.
Red Sox lone all-star representative Brock Holt up. Did not play last night. Has himself an 11-game hitting streak, hitting 292, couple of home runs, 22 runs batted in. Originally the Pirates system, 9th round pick in 09, got picked up in a trade along with Joel Hanrahan back in 2012. Mark Melancon, Stolmy Pimentel, Evande Jesus, and Jerry Sands going to the Pirates. This turned out to be a good deal for the Red Sox. Holt, super utility guy, bounce around everywhere.
That looked like a cross up there. See by the reaction and a quick conversation with Carlos Perez and Garrett Richards. And it looked like he was looking fastball, made the adjustment for a slider. You're right, Victor. Holt is a very solid player. I mean, when you have a guy that can play a number of different positions and play him well defensively, can run, put the ball in play, invaluable for a manager to have that type of player on your roster.
0-2 outside. That's a called strike. 3 down goes Holt. 3rd strikeout of the game for Garrett. We'll head to the bottom of the second with no score.
Coming up later in the game, we'll check out the big news from around the majors on the Carl's Jr. Sports Update. A fantastic pitching performance tonight. And Robinson Cano heads back to the Bronx for Seattle against the Yankees. Might have swung the bat pretty well there.
Eric Ibar to lead things off for the Angels here in the second. He'll be followed by David Friesen and C.J. Cron. .284 average for Eric. 0 for 3 last night. And there was a lot of 0 fors last night. Slow breaking ball drops in for a strike. Oh, 2 count. Ibar .275 batting average from the left side, .313 from the right this year. His numbers jumped up quite a bit on the last road trip. Takes low.
So far in this game, Porcello's done a nice job of mixing and matching. His curveball's been solid, changeup's pretty good, slider the same thing. Fastball with good movement.
Missed inside, evens up the count. Numbers here at the Big A for Porcello have not been pretty. This is his 4th start. 0-2 record. An 11.25 ERA. Of course, that includes the one big blow-up game in which he gave up grand slam to Trout in the first inning. Was it 10 runs in the first? Remember the Tigers. This one rolled softly foul.
And I remember that game. He gave up quite a few infield hits before Trout ended up hitting a grand slam against him.
Another 2-2. Missed in.
That was a Saturday afternoon back in April 20th, 2013. And he struggled mightily in that first inning.
There's a walk. Nice plate appearance for Ibar. Falling behind in the count and working the leadoff walk. Second one issued by Porcello.
So persistent to try to throw that 2-seam fastball inside. 3 times in a row he tried against Eric. And Eric, good patience at the plate. Calls a walk.
Freeze last night 0 for 2. Draw a leadoff walk to start the 8th inning. That's what Featherston pinch ran for him. David's average of .243, 10 home runs on the year. 39 RBI. A slow breaking ball for a strike. Porcello seems to have that pitch going for him tonight.
Yeah, good feel for that. It's anywhere between 74 and 78 mile an hour curveball.
This low.
And Rick Porcello, one of his all-time favorite movies, is also one of your all-time favorite movies, For the Love of the Game. I know that's on your top 10 list.
Top 10?
Or top 1, I'm sorry.
Top 100, maybe. I liked it. It was all right. I know that's your favorite movie.
Oh, yeah, Billy Chapel.
You still think the guy's real. Keep going to baseballreference.com looking up Billy Chapel.
Hello, he's not? It's a perfect game.
Yeah. Just ask him. I'll get you one of those Tigers jerseys one of these days.
Thank you.
Be able to round one up. Jose probably has a couple extra in his closet.
I didn't mind those jerseys, Tiger jerseys, when they were away jerseys. I didn't like the home jersey.
Yeah.
I didn't do too well in that stadium. So I didn't mind the away jersey. Jose playing the game.
Little topper towards short. Bogaerts goes to second. They get the force out there. And nothing more. He's trying to pull that outside breaking ball. He'll reach on the fielder's choice. One out, one on for Cron. Nice play by Bogaerts on a ball not hit that hard to charge it. Still know that he's got enough time to get the lead runner.
He's always got that perfect feed to Pedroia at second, too. Always around belt high, which you want as a second baseman to receive that throw with someone sliding in hard at you.
Cron the DH, 264. 0 for 3 last night. Taking off on it is Freeze. Cron chops this one to Bogaerts. 2 down.
One thing Mike Scioscia likes to do, likes to put the hit and run on with C.J. Cron. That one right into the ground, advances Freeze in the scoring position, but Bogaerts once again makes a solid play at short.
So a man in scoring position for Matt Joyce. Halos last night 0 for 3 with men in scoring position. And unfortunately, they're on this string. If you go back to that last homestand, which the Angels were 6 and 3. And now 0 for the last 30 with men in scoring position here at home. Well, they got rid of that very quickly in that series against the Rangers when they went on the road trip. Looking for that knock to get that goose egg off the board. Joyce, a big rip. Now tips that one to the mid. Not getting the start in left tonight, hitting 190. 5 home runs and 20 runs batted in.
Yeah, it's 261 career at bats against the Red Sox. In that division, get a number of bats, 6 career home runs against them.
Missed inside. Cut fastball. If it's accounted 1-1. Porcello picked up in a trade from Detroit this offseason. Exchange for Yoenis Cespedes, pitcher Alex Wilson, left-handed pitcher Gage Spire. This after Porcello won 15 games for the Tigers last year. Career high for him. Also lost 13 with a good ERA, 3.43.
Always felt he was a victim of the lack of range at time in the infield for the Tigers, giving up a lot of hits. He's a ground ball pitcher, not a ton of range in that infield over the years for him in Detroit. Much better for the most part here with Boston. They'll give up a lot more home runs this year.
This is the first time he'd surpassed 200 inning plateau. 204 2/3.
You don't remember him being this slow of a worker, though.
Right. Freeze over at second. Off speed for a strike, so he's needed to get one over. Breaking ball still a good option for him. Full count.
It's the 4th full count already in this game for Porcello.
Joyce takes inside. There's that 2-seamer that missed. According to Hunter Wendelstedt, 3rd walk of the game already. 2nd this inning. It's 2 men on with 2 outs. Carlos Perez coming up. It's Carl Willis, the pitching coach. It's been an issue with the Red Sox this year, the pitching side of things. Last in the American League in staff ERA at 4.41. The struggles have cost the job of Juan Nieves, the pitching coach at the start of the season. That's why Willis is in the dugout now. Perez behind the plate tonight, hitting .226. A couple of home runs, 13 runs batted in. Lays off the breaking pitch, and it's 1-0.
Already 39 pitches thrown for Porcello. So maybe that's what happened to him at Fenway Park earlier this year against the Angels. Just kind of started to fall behind in counts. Hitters hit .444 on him, and he's 1-0 counts this year.
2-0. He's not missing by much, but missing enough where Hunter Wendelstein is not ringing it up. Saw Bob Davidson last night with a little bit bigger strike zone.
Split right down the middle as far as strikes and balls so far of his 40 pitches. Now a conversation between Hannigan and Porcello.
Seems to have stopped raining here, a little drizzle that ticked up in the first inning. It's supposed to be on and off throughout the night. Two balls and no strikes. Freeze at second base. Joyce at first. Scoreless. 2-0 now. Chopper off the plate toward third. Sandoval comes in, fields it, bobbles the ball. Everyone is safe and the bases are loaded. It was going to be a bang-bang play at first base because of the big chopper off the plate.
When he tried to rush his throw, baseball slipped out of his hand. I was thinking maybe if it hits the grass it might be slipperier, but then no, it went right off the dirt. So that should not have been an issue for Sandoval. He was trying to be quick with the transfer. And in the midst of the transfer, lost the grip of the baseball. Now the base is loaded. Is it going to end up being an error for Sandoval?
Giavitello 0 for 1. He struck out looking in the first.
Well, now if you're Giavitello, you're having a pitcher here struggling, trying to get through, and play not made. First pitch out of the strike zone. You're at the advantage now as a hitter. You look in that one zone. Don't help him out by swinging at something out of the strike zone. Giavitello with great numbers. Base loaded. 471, looking for his first career grand slam.
Bounces this one, that'll get by Hannigan, and the Angels have themselves a 1-0 lead on a wild pitch.
Might see a visit here from Carl Willis at some point. Really tries to turn over this sinking fastball. Hannigan didn't get his body square enough against that sinker in the dirt to keep that from getting away from him. It's being a wild pitch. It's now 8th wild pitch this season.
Oh, that's on the corner. Looked like Giavitello held up, but Hunter rings it up. 2 balls and a strike. A 1-0 Angels lead. 2 walks and an error and a wild pitch.
Still no hits for the Angels so far.
Two-one pitch. Givatella drives one out toward right center field. Long run for Mookie Betts, racing over, curls around to his left, tracks it down, and that's the third out of the inning. The Angels strike for a run on the wild pitch from Porcello. We'll head to the third. 1-0 Halos. Data strong fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming Angels broadcast, and it's brought to you by T-Mobile. Halos with a 1-0 lead as we start the third, game 2 of this 4-game series. Remember, it's a wraparound series. Terrific job with it signed, by the way.
Outstanding.
Absolutely. With individuality there. Like it. Got a Sunday night baseball game tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's on ESPN tomorrow night, and then of course back to 7:05 for the finale of this 4-game set on Monday. Twins roll into town on Tuesday for 3. The Rangers in town next weekend for 3, beginning on Friday. Red Sox setting up 9-1-2. Hannigan, Betts, and Pedroia against Garrett.
Yeah, speaking of our Minnesota Twins, our good friend Torrey Hunter celebrated a birthday today.
Milestone birthday,
yes.
40th.
Or he could be like Jack Benny and stayed at 39.
Yeah. Ah, the 40th. I remember that one.
I'm still waiting.
Just like it was 7 years ago, Gooby. You're still waiting, yeah. Sure.
At least in my mind, I am.
It's funny how that works.
Oh, yeah.
Hannigan pulls this one to short. One out for Betts. Guess one of the gifts that his teammates got him was a walker.
Teammates could be so cruel.
Yeah. They ever do anything like that to you?
Yeah, because I remember doing that to my older teammates back in the day. So it always just comes around full circle.
Anybody ever steal your Trans Am out of the player line? No.
Only David Hasselhoff did.
Really?
My kit.
You had no saran wrap around your car or anything?
No, at that point we parked right in the midst of everyone else's car at that point.
Right.
We didn't have that corral they have now.
With the underground tunnel?
Yes.
0-1. Opens up the count. Betts a strikeout victim in the first. Did the Blue Jays do something? Joe Carter did something? Was it Derek Bell? Skyna, whatever. Stole his car from the player lot. They talking about a giveaway car or whatever in the stadium, and they drove it onto the field.
I remember that. Rick Sutcliffe did some pretty interesting things to teammates on birthdays.
Yeah.
I remember. Yes.
Things you can't share
Yes.
on the air.
Pretty much, that's pretty much the case.
Betts goes down swinging, 2 outs. Folks, the Angels will host the Twins, as we mentioned, next week on Wednesday at 7:05. Fans in attendance will receive the Hawaiian Rally Monkey, courtesy of Sungevity. While supplies last, purchase tickets by visiting the Angels Stadium ticket office or by getting online at angels.com. There's the Rally Monkey out in the batter's eye, distracting everybody.
Certainly worked last night.
Yeah.
Except against Mike Trout.
We've got a Rally Monkey, Hawaiian Rally Monkey here in our booth that we'd like to show you at some point.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just to get a close-up. Because that one out there, batter's eye, is not a true representation.
No. This
is
one.
kind of gives you an idea of what
That is a great look.
what scale is right here.
That's a great look.
Like that.
You're presenting him very well, too.
How do you do
You got it. The shades, though. Look at the shades.
No. That's Hawaiian Week next week. We can't wait.
Oh, there's no doubt.
We're stoked.
Oh. I've already marked out a couple days in the calendar to get ready.
Two one. It's just an unhittable fastball there. Perfect placement.
You read fastball, but that late cut action at 96 in the location that you mentioned, Victor, on the outside corner, all you can do is hope to flare that in the right field.
In the air toward right center field. Trout racing back to his left. Will track it down on a 1-2-3 inning for Garrett. We'll head to the bottom of the third. Halos on top. 1-0. Courtesy of Total, while supplies last. Purchase your tickets by visiting the Angel Stadium ticket office, or you can do so online at angels.com. So we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. We are having so much fun here. It is Hawaiian Week coming up, so we have to kind of prep for it, get ready. Just wish we had like a big old Mai Tai right here.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
A couple of straws sipping out of it. See what that broadcast sounds like in the seventh inning or so.
That would be perfect. It would match our outfits right now.
Oh, I can't wait to wear this
It's
tomorrow.
a good look.
Absolutely. I want to wear this out tomorrow.
I don't blame you.
You think so?
Yeah.
I like the
Fit
little
you well.
These are baseball buttons.
I know.
Did you see
This is legit.
Really cool.
Yes. I know what you're wearing for the next week.
Now you can take this back and put it in your closet there, Mark. Thanks for bringing it out.
That's how I roll.
2, 3, and 4 for the Halos. Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols. Sweet leg. Calhoun with a walk in the first. Gilby will be back in the fourth inning. Porcello with 2 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 1 wild pitch. That led to the unearned run in the second. Again, Porcello and Hannigan very slow tonight. Can't get on the same page as far as the signs. One ball, 1 strike.
Boy, you know in the dugout, guys are screaming 1 is fastball, 2 is curve, 3 is slider, wiggle, changeup.
It's funny, that never, well, it used to happen all the time. Guys don't talk as much nowadays. Breaking ball, 2 balls and a strike. And it was usually colorful language.
Yes, yes. That was the fun times in the dugout.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine so for a starting pitcher not pitching that day.
We got those 4 days in between where we had to really help the teammate out.
Downstairs, 3-1. Did they have you charting in the stands back then?
Did it a few times. That always worked out well.
In the seats, though, right?
Yes, especially when you know they're basing their defense the next night on the chart you did. I'm like, yeah, that was a fastball. It looked like a breakable. Well, it was one of those sharp breaking fastballs.
Cole rips one out to right. Aloha means goodbye, and it's 2-0.
Oh, the timing was right, Victor. Great call. Cole going yard. Number 11 on the season now. 48 RBI by Cole Calhoun. 17th home run that Porcello has allowed. Boy, in this fastball, this right down the heart of the plate, elevated top part of the strike zone, and Cole, the good stride, the balance, loaded up on that back leg, and the barrel of the bat through the baseball and way out to right field for Cole in the cow zone in right center field.
'48th RBI. Trout looks at a strike. Trout fouls this one off. Snowball is 2 strikes.
Well, you can see how well Mike Trout has done in that number 3 spot in the batting order for Mike Scioscia. 28 games, batting average over 360, 9 home runs, slugging percentage over 700, on base percentage 475 for Trout in that 3 spot in the lineup.
Trout strikes out swinging, got him on a pitch down and away. 1 out, second punch out of the night for Trout.
Yeah, last time out got him on a strikeout with a fastball upstairs. This time a fastball away. Looked like he was setting up in, and then his fastball went away just off the outside corner.
Pujols grounded out in his first at-bat. He's 0 for 1. Two nothing Halos here in the third. Porcello giving up that long ball. Something that has stuck out like a sore thumb. 17th allowed this year by Rick. Easily the most of any pitcher on the Sox staff, is Albert a little tardy on that fastball.
And when you put it in perspective, the most he's ever given up in a season is 23. That's a full season back at 09. The sinker baller generally doesn't give up a lot of home runs. 23 in that year, already with 17 this season.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Ibar on deck. Leadoff home run for Cole Calhoun here in the third, making 2-0. Breaking ball, line towards short, off the glove of Bogarts. Ricochets to Pedroia and pulls safe with a single. And exhale. And what I don't like to see over there is Albert kind of grabbing at the back of the hamstring area on the left leg after crossing the bag.
And he's saying he's all right, making that sign into the dugout. Line drive, dive. Almost flipped that right over to Pedroia, who, as always, in the right position, almost throws out Albert Pujols.
That'll go as a hit.
Look, they were playing highlight down there, trying to flip it over to Pedroia.
Tough play, too, just from the standpoint as a shortstop. Ball hits so low on a line, and it's curling back to you. You can't really tell how quickly that ball's going to come back to you.
Or if it's going to hit the dirt also and react on that short hop. But it's amazing how Pedroia is always in the right position.
It's tough to find a guy that is seldom flat-footed on the field. Because Pedroia is always on the move.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what is going on. There is always something happening with him. He is going to the baseball. He's going to an area, anticipating the ball.
Well, you look at him as he gets ready, that prep step he has. He's always moving forward. The prep steps, he can move right or left, come in on the baseball, go back on a pop-up. Now, if you're a youngster at home, watching Pedroia play his position is exactly what you should do. Always be prepared to move in every direction because of that prep step he has.
Ibar had a walk in the second. One ball, 2 strikes.
A lot of off-speed pitches Eric has seen from Porcello. Then when he's gotten ahead, he's tried that 2-seam fastball to run it back and get the inside corner. Last time, missed 3 straight times and then ended up walking Eric Ibar.
Here's the 1-2. This is slap foul. It would be interesting to have seen Porcello pitching last night with Davidson behind the plate. Now, I'm not saying Hunter Wendelstedt is squeezing anybody, but because the zone was just a little bit wider, these pitches that Porcello's not getting tonight probably would have been strikes.
They're not
night.
by a couple baseballs off the corner. They're maybe a half a baseball off each corner.
He's thrown a lot of pitches already, though. 63, and we're in the third. 3 walks. 2 hits allowed. Crowd is filled in nicely here. Slow arriving crowd, especially with the rain earlier today. A lot of folks not sure whether or not we were going to start on time. We weren't even sure. We were told that if the tarp was on the field after 5:25, there was going to be a delay. But they came out and pulled the tarp. We started right on time.
Barney did a great job, as usual, getting this field ready.
Another big crowd here tonight. 1-2, got him looking. Outside corner. 2 outs. Strikeout number 4 for Porcello.
Well, he painted that outside corner at 92. Look at our Fox track. Just barely touches that lower part of the strike zone.
20 pitches thrown here in the third for Porcello. He'll face Freeze with 2 outs and a man on. Fielder's choice. That's what Freeze reached on in the second. He scored on the wild pitch. Last start for Porcello prior to this one, July 8th against Miami at Fenway. Snapped a 7-game losing streak. This is a broken bat roller to short. The barrel ends up just to the left of Pedroia. That's the third out of the inning. Cole Calhoun with a leadoff home run. His 11th of the year gives the Angels a 2-0.
That ball was crushed by Cole, an elevated pitch. He did not miss that one, his 11th of the season.
One with highlights, instant analysis, and live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is weekdays at 4 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports 1. It's streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
I'm a little dizzy now from whipping around here in the booth.
Yep. Cole Calhoun homering. For the 11th time this year as the rain starts to fall once again here at the Big A. It's the top of the fourth. Three, 4, and 5 for Boston here. Bogarts, Ortiz, and Ramirez. Garrett Richards with 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He was allowed 1 hit, and that was the single to Pablo Sandoval, infield single off the glove of Richards. Good breaking ball.
Well, that is a tight, sharp slider. And that's the one thing Garrett has been able to do the last couple of seasons. Get back into counts, throw his slider for a strike. So far, his speed differential with his pitches so far in this game, he's throwing a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, as fast as fastball, and 79-mile-an-hour curveball. So nearly 20-mile-an-hour differential for him. That is an important pitch for him, Victor, to be able to throw that fastball in against righties, because then that sets up his ability to throw his cut fastball away and his slider away. Otherwise, you're just going to look out over the plate. Even though it's firm, you can look out over the plate for a zone every time.
Down remains at a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, not easy for a hitter, too, to be able to see some of these pitches on a good night against Richards. But then you're dealing with raindrops on your helmet And that slight distraction is difficult enough to try to catch up to 97.
This rain's falling at a pretty good clip. It was a drizzle early on. This one's grounded to third. Freeze has it. And fielders now have to deal with that baseball being wet through the grass. There's the first out of the fourth.
We certainly needed this rain out here in California. That's some late rain, even any part of the season, and it's certainly odd here in July.
They were talking about how weird the weather was back in May.
Exactly. It was cooler, some drizzle. Well, they certainly talked about that El Nino effect. We're going to see potentially a lot of rain this fall and winter.
Ortiz hit a fly ball to center leading off the second. He's 0 for 1. Ball, 1 strike. Forecast calling for intermittent rain throughout the night. I like the Angels' decision to just go ahead and start the game on time. Before we had Denver, we had a rain delay, and you easily could have gotten 3-4 innings in to start that game on a getaway to boot.
Yeah, that was what, a 2-hour plus rain delay.
1 and 2.
And into Seattle real early that day.
Yeah. One-two pitch. Breaking ball kind of slipped out of the hand. Down in Houston, Rangers clinging to a 5-4 lead in the ninth. Minute Maid Park had a 4-1 lead earlier in the game. 2-2, bouncer toward first. Albert's got it, waves off Garrett.
I like what Albert did right away. Signals to Garrett just to stay where he's at, especially when you have the wet grass.
Left fielder, number 13, Anthony Ramirez.
Base is clear for Hanley. Lined out to Ibar in the second. That one fouled off the leg.
See this little slider from Garrett. Great location. Fouled it off his body.
No bueno. That's all you can really do is walk it off. There's no sense in hoping a trainer comes out. This one's lined to right. Stayed down that one pretty well. Cole makes the catch. And a 1-2-3 inning for Garrett. We'll head to the bottom of the fourth. Halos on top 2-0.
To the bottom of the fourth. I'm Alex Kerr. We've got a nice crowd coming together here in the concourse with the rain coming down again. But right now, we want to give a big shout out to all the U.S. Armed Forces as this Angels game is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, being broadcast to all the U.S. Armed Forces who are serving all over the world, both on land and on ships out at sea. So welcome to our Angels broadcast and a big thank you for your service. Victor and Gooby, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Alex. Stage ride down on the concourse. 2-0 Halos as we start at the bottom of the fourth inning. Crone, Joyce, and Perez, bottom third of the order against Rick Porcello. Was struck out 4, walked 3, and has allowed 2 hits. Crone a ground out to short in the second inning. Rain is slowed up. It's good. CJ wishes he could have that pitch back.
He missed some pretty good pitches to hit last night. It was a little bit too aggressive. First pitch swinging.
That's driven out to center field. Betts, a little bit of a late start, reaching back, can't get it, it's over his head. Crone on his way to second. If they lead off double, that's his 8th of the year.
And that's what you want to see from CJ. Just driving the ball to the middle of the field, to the gaps. He has great power. He'll hit his home runs. But when he's on the baseball and driving at the middle of the field, that's when he's very, very effective. Fastball, he tried to run that fastball in. He did a nice job of tucking his hands in. He got the barrel of the bat on that baseball. And it's not an easy thing to do. Get it by Betts in center field with the range he has.
Second straight inning in which the Angels have had a leadoff hit. Here's Joyce, who drew a walk in the second inning. '71 pitch of the night for Porcello. 40 have been strikes. Through 26 pitches in the second, 22 in the third.
One of those tough things as a pitcher, you're trying to, with the shift on, you're going to try to stay inside, but that allows Matt Joyce, at the very least, hit a ground ball to that right side of the infield to advance CJ Crone to third. Ideally, you would try to go away, soft away, whether it's curveball or changeup away, to keep him from getting the job done.
Joyce got tired of waiting again for Porcello. A bouncer toward first. That's a foul ball. David Rackley, the first base umpire, making the call.
Hyundai key for this game. Look for some more offense for the Halos. The thunderstruck. Cole Calhoun certainly crushed his baseball. The Angels so far just 3 hits. CJ Crone led off with that hard double over Betts' head. Looking for some damage here from Matt Joyce.
Texas has added on in the ninth inning, so it's 7-4 Rangers in the ninth against the Astros. Minnesota and Oakland scoreless in the 6th inning. Twins at the Coliseum tonight. Seattle defeated the Yankees earlier today 4-3.
Like Matt Joyce tracked that slow curveball very well. See if he can get the job done here. At the very least, advance CJ Crone to third.
Missed in. Full count. It's the 5th full count for Porcello tonight.
I'll say you said that. You have said that a few times tonight. A lot of pitches thrown for Porcello. 75. Only 42 in the strike zone.
Payoff pitch. Joyce pulls one towards second. Pedroia has it. One down. Moving to third is Crone.
Productive out there by Matt Joyce on a slow breaking ball in the outer part of the plate. Was able to pull that one hard to Pedroia. Should get some high fives when he makes his way back into the dugout.
Infield in for Boston. Up and in. Cardinals reach on the error by Sandoval in his first at bat. 11th error committed by Pablo. It's down and in. At that point, it loaded the bases up in the second inning, and then the wild pitch while Giavotella was at the plate led to the Angels' first run.
Important for Carlos to look for something out over the plate. Porcello may try to jam him with a fastball in.
There it is, trying to come back inside. That's 3 in.
That's what you want to do with a man on third. Your infield's in. Jam a batter. You have a lot of time, especially a young hitter, looking to drive in a run. You have a tendency to expand the strike zone a little bit more so. Then you can jam a hitter that way. Good patience so far by Carlos Perez against Porcello.
Takes a strike. Top of the order on deck and Johnny Giavotella. Three one. Good sinking fastball there. Full count.
More hitters this year against Porcello coming in this game in a 3-1 count. 10 for 15 with 2 home runs and 5 RBI.
Hannigan set up outside, and they get Perez, who had a 3-0 count. That's the second out of the inning.
Second baseman, number 12, Johnny Giavotella.
So 2 outs, a man at third, and here comes Johnny Giavotella, who's 0 for 2. Porcello from the full windup here, and Johnny chases. It's an 0-1 count. Off the plate.
Well, that Houston-Texas game gets more and more interesting. Even though Texas had a 7-4 lead, now Houston has scored 2 runs in the 9th. Still no outs. 7-6 game.
Little bench clearing melee there between the Astros and the Rangers as well. One pitch. Bouncer back to the mound. So the Angels get a man over to third and leave him stranded there. We've played 4 here at the Big A. The Halos maintaining a 2-0 lead. Estimated 31 highway miles per gallon. This car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com. By AT&T Uverse. More live channels on the go than cable.
And by Subaru. Test drive the all-new 2015 Subaru Forester or go to Subaru.com to learn more.
Halos up 2-0. We begin the 5th inning. Sandoval, De Aza, and Holtz coming up for Boston. Garrett Richards finishing up his warm-up pitches. He's retired the last 7 in a row since walking Alejandro De Aza in the 2nd inning. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 hit allowed for Garrett.
Like really good stuff so far in the game. Consistent velocity with his fastball and good movement. Slider's been sharp. Generally, as the game progresses, especially against left-handed batters, he'll start mixing in his curveball more. There's 57 pitches thrown through 4 innings for Richards.
This one down the left field line, and that is a fair ball. Bounces into the seats. It'll be a leadoff double for Pablo Sandoval, his 13th of the year and his 2nd hit of the night.
One thing you can almost guarantee with Sandoval at the plate, he's going to be aggressive early in the count. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He just went with the pitch, stayed back on that one well, and shot it down the left field line for a ground rule double. 13th double of the season.
De Aza looks at a strike. Mentioned the walk that he picked up in the 2nd, so no official at bat for him tonight. Breaking ball. And it's bunted foul.
Was that curveball from Richards? Basically uses that curveball for a strikeout pitch, but also as his all-speed pitch.
Tapper foul at home plate. So the count remains at 0-2. .61 pitches thrown by Garrett. 42 have been strikes. Fantastic ratio tonight. We saw it early on in that first inning with the life that he had on the fastball. The only hiccup really was in the second inning when he gave up the infield base hit to Sandoval that went off his glove on a ball that he probably should have caught himself. Then walked the eyes up and then calmed things down by striking out Holt looking. Got out of it. Little dribbler foul.
We found also pretty tough pitches. That slider's well off the plate. Fouled that one off. That's twice now since being headed count 0-2. 62 pitches thrown, 43 of them strikes. Very different from what you saw from Porcello tonight as far as strikes to ball ratio.
Got him swinging. Down goes De Aza. One down.
Elevated 95-mile-an-hour fastball after fouling off some tough sliders in the dirt. Goes upstairs. Swing and miss. A cut fastball too.
Holt a strikeout victim in the second. Rangers hang on to defeat the Astros 7-6. So victory tonight for the Halos would give them a game-and-a-half lead in the West. There's the 0-1. Holt chops this one to second. Two down. Advancing to third is Sandoval.
They ran that little cut fastball in on him. 96-mile-an-hour pitch. Quick ground ball out to Giavotella.
So the catcher Hannigan will come to the plate. Grounded out to Ibar as the leadoff man in the third. Halos in the bottom of the fifth inning of Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols coming up. A pretty good pitch, just missed down and in.
That's great location.
Yes, he did. Went around on the breaking ball. 1-2.
We talk about late movement on a slider. That's what Richards had on that one. That's a catcher who's used to catching sharp sliders. Chases that out of the strike zone.
Another breaking ball. Nice block by Perez. Even to count at 2-2. Angels scoring their first run in the second inning on the wild pitch. And Calhoun making it 2-0. Lead-off home run in the third. 99th home run hit by the Angels this season. Chopper toward third. That is a foul ball. Just wide of the bag. So Hannigan making the slow walk back to the mound. Or probably to the plate, I should say.
You've said that a number of times tonight also.
Yeah, no doubt.
That conversation between him and Rick Porcello.
They've made a few, had a few conversations tonight. Sandoval lead off double, standing at third base. That was off of Richards. Giavotella is there. And there's the third out of the inning. Garrett just ducked out of the way and it hit his body. That leadoff double stranded at third. We'll head to the bottom of the fifth. 2-0 Angels.
Calhoun, an elevated fastball, crushes it out to right center field. The 11th home run this season. And the Halos a 2-0 lead, which they have at this point after Garrett Richards got through that last inning.
The ball hit him on the back of the right shoulder area.
Shatters the bat. And off the shoulder and eventually over to Giavotella for a 1-4-3 putout. Right off that upper part of the back of the shoulder. Looks like he's okay right away. Mike Scioscia went over to talk to Garrett and said he was fine when he went into the dugout.
Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols for the Halos here in the fifth. Go 1 for 1, walked in the first, homered into third. 86 pitches, 4+ innings, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. Home run for Cole is 11th. The RBI is 48th. And that is driven out to right again. This one is gone. Big fly for Cole Calhoun. Second of the ballgame makes it 3-0 Angels.
Almost the exact same spot for Cole Calhoun. 12th home run of the season now for Cole. So you got to talk about him for a little bit. Look what he does. Goes back to back. It bats for home runs for Cole Calhoun. Little two-seam fastball. Last time he homered on an elevated pitch, this time it was down the middle part of the plate, middle in, and drives it out, head of the bat, using that lower part of his body for leverage to drill that baseball out.
First career multi-homer game for Cole at the major league level. As Trout steps in, Mike looks at a breaking ball for a strike. Action beginning now in the Red Sox pen.
He's never had a home run in his career against the Red Sox, but 2 here tonight.
Trout 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. So the Angels now have hit 100 home runs on the season. 1 ball, 1 strike. Came into tonight's action with 98, 5th in the American League, as Justin Masterson begins to loosen down.
That home run by Cole to 2 home runs tonight. The Angels have reached the century mark as far as home runs as a team.
That is skied to left, a towering shot. Hanley Ramirez moving to his right is there to make the catch for the first out.
We got away with that hanging curveball right out over the plate. Well, he just missed this one. And a finger off the curveball, right down the heart of the plate, elevated, just got underneath it. Richards and Porcello are very similar as far as when they throw their curveball, they have their finger off the baseball, index finger.
Albert's seen quite a few of those breaking balls tonight. He's 1 for 2 with the ground down, an infield base hit. And that is driven out toward right center field. Going back on it is Diaz. He's got a beat on it. He'll make the catch for the second out. Some sound here in the 5th inning.
Some pitches that have been upstairs, especially to Trout and Pujols. That fastball that was down against Cole, but got the inner half of the plate. 2 home runs at the right center field, right in the cow zone.
Ibar with a walk and a punch up. Oh, 2 downstairs.
See if we'll try that 2-seam fastball back inside again.
There's the 1-2. He did. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 3-0 Angels. Second straight time that Cole Calhoun has led off an inning with a home run. Missed low. Next pitch will be the 100th of the game for Porcello. We're in the 5th with 2 outs. 7th full count. Fouled off. So reset and do it again. Freeze on deck.
Not a real good ratio as far as strikes. Hunter pitches is 55% of his pitches is strike zone for Porcello. He's only allowed 4 hits so far, but a lot of pitches thrown. A couple big flies from Cole Calhoun against him.
The crazy thing has been the tempo or lack thereof tonight for Porcello, something that not used to seeing. He's always been a guy, not necessarily a Miley type of worker or a Burley where he's non-stop,
but extremely aggressive normally.
Usually has a pretty good pace to him. Another payoff pitch. Nybar, a little looper out to shallow short. Bogarts is there, and the Angels are done here in the 5th. They do add a run. Cole Calhoun, 2nd home run of the ball game. 5 complete. The Angels on top 3-0.
Get this pitch down in the strike zone, and another home run to right center field for Cole Calhoun. Ball up, but Porcello crushes it out. His 11th home run of the season, giving the Angels 2-0 lead. Aaron Richards has been dominant. 97-mile-an-hour cut fastball, very good, especially with his slider. Also 5 shutout innings. And Cole Calhoun once again against Porcello. This time fastball down. His 12th home run of the season for Cole, giving the Angels a 3-0 lead. The Angels are 17-3 in the last 20 games in which Cole Calhoun has hit a home run.
Top of the order for Boston here in the 6th inning. Betts, Pedroia, and Bogarts against Garrett Richards. Gave up the leadoff double to Pablo Sandoval in the 5th, but nothing more than that. As Betts gets underneath this one, out to shallow left. A lot of wind here tonight. Nybar calls everybody off, makes the catch, and there's the first down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Los Angeles Angels and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball LP.
That's not an easy play for Eric Aybar going back, especially with this wind picking up again.
Pedroia takes up and in. Red Sox second baseman 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fly ball to right. That is pulled down the line, foul. Masterson continues to loosen in the Red Sox pen, so Porcello done after 5 innings, it appears.
A lot of pitches thrown. You would think that's the case.
Chopper back to the mound. Garrett has one. Gloves it. 2 down.
And then it's a smile on his face. I'm sure. Look at the guys in the clapping for it.
Xander Bogaerts the batter with 2 outs. The base is clear. He lifts one out to right. Cole comes in. 6-pitch inning for Garrett Richards. Very economical. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Garrett on the Angels up 3-0.
The Nationals went 14 punch-outs, no walks, 8 shutout innings. Cano, don't you know, 2 home runs for Seattle against his old team in New York. As Seattle wins that game 4-3.
Bottom of the 6th inning. Halos up 3-0. Terrific job so far for Garrett Richards, looking for his 10th win of the season. So in and out, who's in, who's out. The Red Sox do make a pitching change. Rick Porcello is done after 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned on 4 hits. As they hand the ball off to Justin Masterson, pitching in his 11th game, a 3-2 record, a 6 ERA. Second appearance since July the 10th. That was against the Yankees. So he's working out of the bullpen.
Yeah, fastballs 88 to 92 range, slider, changeup, a lot of fastballs. At 82% of his pitches, fastballs.
Freeze will look at his strike. Masterson works quickly. Spent just over a month on the disabled list between May 13th and June 22nd with right shoulder tendonitis. That one hits Freeze. Boy, that got him on the elbow, it looked like. Freeze is on board the hard way.
He's got movement on the fastball. When you drop his elbow at all, instead of sink action, it's going to have lateral action. See that elbow dropping down and that fastball running right in on the elbow of David Freese. Nothing you could do as a hitter to get out of that way of that fastball running in like that.
7th time that David's been hit. Trout leads the team in hit by pitches with 8. Trout has started to wear that elbow guard. Cron takes outside. He doubled in his last at bat, and that was in the 4th inning. Eventually stranded at third base. He's 1 for 2 tonight. No runs, 2 hits, an error, 3 left on for Boston. 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors, 5 left on for the Angels. Breaking ball, there, first strike. Masterson in his career, good numbers against the Angels. 4-1, a 2.70 ERA, 14 games, 11 of which were starts. That is ripped foul. One and two. Cron goes down, swing on a slider, 1 out.
Number 20, Matt Joyce.
Brings up Joyce, a walk and a ground out. Nasty pitch underneath the hands.
Remember when he first came up, pitched out of the bullpen for the Red Sox. Always had that good movement on his fastball. Sharp slider.
Bouncer toward first. Holt fires to second, and they get the lead runner for out number 2. Fielder's choice for Joyce.
The gutsy play. Firm throw from Holt to get the force out at second.
Here's Carlos Perez with 2 outs and a man on. As you mentioned, originally the Boston organization, 2nd round pick out of San Diego State back in '06. He was part of the package that went to Cleveland in the Victor Martinez trade. No balls, 2 strikes. The Indians up until last year made 19 starts and they got traded to St. Louis. Pitched in 9 games, 6 starts for the Cardinals, and that did not go well. And re-signed with Boston this offseason. 1-2. A 14-game winner back in 2013 with the Trout. And Perez goes down swinging, 2 strikeouts in the inning. We've played 6 here at the Big A, and the Angels maintaining a 3-0 lead. needs of the military community for over 90 years. And by Hyundai. Great deals on amazing cars are going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today. Windy and sometimes rainy here at the Big A. Game 2 of this 4-game series. The Angels with a 3-0 lead. A wild pitch leading to an unearned run in the second inning, and 2 home runs from Cole Calhoun, giving Garrett Richards a 3-0 lead as Daniel Robertson takes over in left field for Matt Joyce. Garrett, after 6 innings, has thrown 77 pitches, 55 strikes, 5 punch-outs, 1 walk, and 2 hits allowed, both to Sandoval. A single in the infield in the second inning, and the double down the left field line in the 5th. Ortiz, Ramirez, and Sandoval.
Good slider to start the count against Ortiz. Was looking fastball first pitch. Sandoval's had success hacking early against Richards.
Just missed low, and it's 2 balls and a strike. There's a strike.
Oh, off-speed pitches. Couple sliders, couple curveballs in this sequence against Ortiz from Richards. Did the same thing against Diaz, and went upstairs with a fastball to get a swing and miss.
Full count. Check swing foul. Ends up in the seats. This is hit sharply, but right into the shift. Ibar has it. 1 down. Fans, the Angels summer pass sale ends on Monday at noon for only $99. Receive 20 tickets to great upcoming summer games. For more info and to purchase that pass, you got to do it by Monday at noon. It's Angels.com/summer pass. 6-3 put out for the first out here, the 7th. Here's Hanley Ramirez. Remember, tomorrow it's a 5 o'clock start here on the West Coast. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball game. Hector Santiago on the mound for the Angels. The All-Star Eduardo Rodriguez scheduled to start for Boston. Just down and away. Ramirez 0 for 2. He lined out to Ibar the second, lined out to Calhoun in the 4th. So hit the ball hard, but nothing to show for it.
Still a real good life in that cut fastball. 96 from Richards. 96th pitch of the game so far.
One ball, 2 strikes.
And that fastball in there good, that 2-seam fastball.
Ground ball. That was foul. Garrett now 88 pitches. Trying to get through the 7th inning. 3-0 lead. Working from the stretch with nobody on. This is popped up. Shallow center. Ibar with the call and the catch. 2 outs.
I think you're going to see Garrett go right back to that full windup. That was just somebody just forgot momentarily, and somebody's saying something in the dugout. Looks like once again. They say, "Well, let's try that just for something new."
Well, sometimes you quick pitch and throw off a hitter's timing. Maybe that's what did it. Put that down on the hitter's head, right? Maybe I am in a situation to drive in a run. I don't know. Is there someone on?
Hey, it's always good to have that hitter guessing that maybe you're just not all there sometimes. That's a good thing. Worked well for me.
Yeah. Worked well for Mark Fredericks, too.
Oh, there's no question.
Here with a 1-2-3 7th stretch time here at the Big A. 3-0 Angels. West and Prime Ticket are now officially on Snapchat at Fox Sports West PT. Add us now to receive exclusive sneak peeks and behind-the-scenes access to your favorite SoCal teams. Masterson out for his 2nd inning of work. He'll face the top of the order in Giavotella, Calhoun, and Trout. Johnny 0 for 3. Hitless in the series. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball out towards shallow right center. Betts. It's called off by Diaz at the last second, and there's the first down of the 7th.
Almost fell in.
Right fielder, number 56,
Cole Calhoun going for the natural hat trick here. 3 home runs in a game.
takes low. Cole 1 for 6 in his career against Masterson. No current Angel has taken him deep. Perhaps until this at bat. 1-0. Down low.
Good count to do some damage now for Cole. He will definitely have the green light here if he gets something on the inner half of the plate.
A little bit outside for him. A 3-1 count. Trout on deck. Took something off and a full count. Here's the payoff. It's a ground ball. Fair. Down the line. Hanley over to cut it off. Cole is going to slam on the brakes and stop right there. 3-hit game for Cole Calhoun. He's been on base 4 times tonight.
It's a good piece of hitting. That's a pretty nasty pitch. Little two-seam fastball. We'll take a look at her pitch by pitch. Masterson against Cole. Sinker downstairs. Another sinker out of the strike zone. Followed by a fastball that ran off the outside corner. Paints the outside corner at 89. And upstairs with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. Then a good moving fastball. Stayed with it. Kept its hands back well. And punched that ball in left field for a single. A walk, single, and 2 home runs tonight for Cole Calhoun.
John hitless tonight, 0 for 3. 4 for 10 in his career against Masterson with a triple.
Yeah, you would think it'd be a good matchup because Masterson stays downstairs with that fastball, and Trout a very good low ball hitter.
Ground ball toward short. Bogarts gets rid of it quickly. Pedroia, quick turn. It's an inning-ending double play. 7 complete here at Angel Stadium. Garrett Richards back on the mound, leading at 3-0.
Garrett Richards continues to take the hill for the Halos. I'm Patrick O'Neill. Stick around after this game for Angels Live. I'll be joined by Tim Salmon as well as Jose Mota. Alex Curry will get the interviews. Maybe we'll find out what was going on with Garrett Richards when he didn't take the full windup. We'll hear from Mike Scioscia and Got to hear from Cole Calhoun. What a night for Cole. He's got the 2 home runs and the other hit. 3 hits. He had the double last night. You know, coming out of the All-Star break, guys, sometimes the offense takes a little while to get going. You get those 4 days off. The Angels averaging 7 runs during that road trip. But for Cole Calhoun, he started this second half red hot.
No, there's no doubt about it. 3-hit performance tonight. First multi-homer game for Cole Calhoun. Garrett Richards after the All-Star break. 7 shutout innings. He'll face the bottom third of the order. De Aza, Holt, and Hannigan.
Following a very dominant performance from C.J. Wilson last night on the mound.
De Aza, a walk and a strikeout. He's 0 for 1. And to Patrick's point about the hitting, sometimes it takes a little while to come back. Now, granted, Wade Miley threw the ball exceptionally well last night.
Hitting's all about your timing. And when you've even, you've been swinging the bat well, and hitters, position players, everyone likes those couple days off the All-Star break, but it's so difficult to read pitches. That's why it's not a bad idea every once in a while to take a few just to read the difference between the fastball and a slider, curveball, and get ready and start seeing the baseball once again before you start hacking again like we saw at the end of the first half.
One-two count on De Aza. 94 pitches for Garrett. That's out towards center. 1 out. 43,631 tonight. The sellout. That was last night. Fireworks tonight. A game that a lot of folks wondering if it was going to get in with the rain that was falling all day and then scheduled, at least anyway from a forecast standpoint, to fall throughout the night.
So driving down here today, it's some of the hardest rain I've seen in a long time.
Brock Holt getting a start at first base tonight. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Napoli with a night off. And 0 for 3 last night.
Keep in mind, he's 5 for 9 in his career versus Garrett Richards with 2 home runs for Napoli, but not in the lineup tonight. Believe me, you're aware of that as a pitcher. Some guys that have good swings against you.
Bouncer to the right side. Pujols has it. Feeds Garrett. 2 outs.
That's a good feed from Pujols to Richards covering the base. Led him perfectly. A lot of times you see Albert try to take this play himself, but there's no way he's going to be able to do that. And then the feed allows Garrett not only to catch the ball, but find the base. A lot of times when you're covering the base, when you're trying to catch the ball and to find the base at the same time, but more difficult play. Consider what Garrett went through last year on a similar play against the Red Sox at Fenway Park.
11 in a row retired by Garrett. Hannigan comes up empty. He's 0 for 2 tonight with the ground out to short. The other one was the one that went off of Garrett to end the 5th. Oh, and 2. I don't know if he gets a quick out here. I'd send it back out for the ninth.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Although Houston Street will be available tonight. Hasn't pitched in a while.
Didn't miss by much. 1 and 2.
That is a great pitch. Great miss.
Looks like there's some movement now in the Angels' pen. action. Smith loosening. Top of the order coming up after Hannigan and Betts, Pedroia, and Bogarts. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hannigan, little dribbler left side. Freeze cuts in front of Ibar. 1-2-3 inning for Garrett Richards. Make that 12 straight. And perhaps just to finish off his night, we'll head to the bottom of the 8th. It's still 3-0 Angels. Strongest fan voted a hashtag WestDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. And it's brought to you by T-Mobile. We begin the bottom of the 8th inning with the Angels leading at 3-0. Garrett Richards, 104 pitches tonight, 8 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. And with action in the Angels' pen, it looks like Garrett's night has come to an end.
Extremely impressive. 104 pitches thrown tonight from Garrett. That's back-to-back 8-inning shutout performance from starters for Mike Scioscia to start the second half. C.J. Wilson last night, Garrett Richards tonight.
Pujols, Ibar, and Freeze against Masterson. 3rd inning of relief. Albert 1 for 3. Infield base hit. That was in the 3rd inning. 5 hits for the Angels, 2 for Boston. Albert grounds this one to short again. 1 down.
Number 2, Aaron.
Ibar 0 for 2 tonight. In the 9th inning, Boston will have the top of its order coming up to face Houston Street. Tyler trying to slap bunt his way on. Street hasn't pitched since the July 8th game at Colorado when he finished off the 3-2 victory for the Angels. .299 career saves. 0-2. High bar takes low. Houston in that game against Colorado slipped. Ben Paulson grounded out to end the game. Strained his groin area. Ibar goes down swinging for the second out.
He had a bullpen session yesterday, so he's ready to go today. Masterson certainly has done a nice job out of the bullpen here for the Red Sox.
Light little drizzle falling now here. 0-1 count on Freeze. 0 for 2. Was hit by a pitch by Masterson. He was the first batter that Masterson faced in the 6th inning. No balls and 2 strikes. Porcello tonight went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, 2 earned. Masterson looking to finish off his 3rd inning. Richards 8 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts before Street comes on here. Trying to close it out. Houston lost earlier tonight. The Astros, that is. 7-6 against the Texas Rangers.
Big game for Cole Calhoun tonight. 2 homers, a single, and a walk.
Angels would, with a victory, go to a game and a half up on the Stros. A 1-2-3 inning for Masterson. So we will head to the 9th. The Angels with a 3-0 lead. Houston Street was going to come in, so maybe this is just a 1-batter, 2-batter situation, or go a batter-to-batter situation. As Garrett has thrown 104 pitches, he has certainly been dominating enough to come back out for the 9th inning. His 2 career complete games, and those happened in 2012 and 2013. Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts. 3 right-handed batters here to face Richards to start this 9th. As Featherston takes over at 3rd base. Breaking ball inside. Betts 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a pop-up.
He's throwing the ball exceptionally well against bets this entire game. Real good action on his cut fastball.
Chopper to third. Featherston has it. One down. Up steps Pedroia.
$11 ground ball outs in this game for Garrett so far.
Oh, 1 count. One and one. Pedroia 0 for 3.
Still pretty firm with that fastball at 95, just off the outside corner.
This one's out toward left center field. Robertson racing back to his left is there. Pulls up, makes the catch. 2 down.
Robertson just ran to a spot and looked up and saw that baseball right there. Reaches down and catches it. It's up in that bank of lights. Hit on the nose by Pedroia. Runs to that area, then catches, sees it finally, dealing with that bank of lights as that ball was hit on the line. So he's trying to track an area where the baseball may come through that bank of lights, and in the last second, Robertson makes the play.
So 2 outs, nobody on. Xander Bogaerts a shortstop up. First one on the way, and is in there for a strike. Bogaerts 0 for 3. 2 fly ball outs and a ground out. 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Still firm with a fastball at 95.
Swing and a miss. Light that baby up. A complete game shutout for Garrett Richards. 3-0 Angels.
What a job. Second career shutout. Third career complete game. And what a job by Carlos Perez behind the plate. Mentioned that to start the game. These two have worked so well together. Not once did it seem like it ever did Garrett shake him off. They were in sync this entire game. Cole Calhoun providing the offense with a couple home runs as the Angels with back-to-back shutouts to start the second half of the Red Sox, who were swinging the bat exceptionally well at the end of the first half. What a job by Garrett Richards and Cole Calhoun and the Angels. They expand their lead on the Astros now to a 1.5 games.
1.5 games late. Another run of the second gave the Angels a 1-0 lead. Cole Calhoun with his first multi-homer game of his big league career. Made it 2-0, then subsequently 3-0, and Garrett Richards went into shutdown mode. 15 consecutive batters retired by Richards to finish off the ball game. A complete game shutout as the Angels take game 2 by the final of 3-0.
That's spelling the finish line, Victor.
No doubt
what
about
a job by Garrett.
Cole, no question, the offensive hero. He is down on the field. Let's go down to Alex Curran.
Thank you, Victor. Cole, congratulations on your first multi-home run game. Were you just seeing the ball well tonight? You hit it to the exact same spot both times.
Just got a couple good pitches and put some good swings on it. The story of the game tonight is Garrett Richards. Complete game shutout. That's awesome.
Now, how great is it to see back-to-back nights your pitching staff shut out Boston here at home?
Yeah, they've been throwing the ball well. That's what we're going to need from them going forward from here.
Now, the bats looked a little rusty last night.
Come on now.
Just a little bit. So is it finally just getting back into the swing? Sorry, I didn't see that one coming.
Not even a heads up.
I didn't see that one coming. So is it finally just kind of getting back into the routine and swinging things after the All-Star break here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, when we're not swinging the bats well and still being able to pick up some wins, that's huge. These guys are throwing the ball as well. Playing in front of you guys is great, so thank you guys.
Congrats on a great game and a multi-home run game.
Thank you.
Angels take Game 2 against Boston. Back-to-back shutout games, but stick around because Angels Live with Patrick O'Neill, Tim Salmon, and Jose Mota is coming up next.